Tonight, the most important budget we've ever seen is hours away. How will it affect your hip pocket? Curbing youth crime with bricks and mortar, but will it make a difference? The opposition asked questions about the booze ban in the Barclay. US Marines prepare to pack up and head back home. And a new record as another Barras hooked in the $1 million fish comp.
This is 9 News Done.
Good evening. Tax cuts, record spending and a bonus for pensioners and those on family benefits are some of the key elements of tonight's federal budget. The cash payments are just a fraction of the billions in the government spend as it goes deep into the red to try to drag Australia's economy out of recession.
The spirit of the last Treasurer to preside over a recession haunted Josh Frydenberg's final pre-budget pitch.
COVID-19 is an economic shock like no other. 10% of our workforce either lost their job or saw their working hours reduced to zero.
Because this Treasurer has nightmares about a 1990s legacy of a decade of high unemployment, his budget has one goal.
Our plan will create jobs.
And its cost will be staggering. To keep Australia's economic heart beating, the national debt ceiling will be lifted to above $1 trillion. This year's deficit will make grim history, sailing over $200 billion, as cash is borrowed and spent by the billion on income tax cuts, wage subsidies, business tax incentives, skills programs and building projects, all aimed at driving unemployment back under 6%.
Our plan will see Australia a stronger nation.
If it doesn't, Paul Keating's heirs will be more than just bystanders, spurred on by bitter memories of the coalition decrying every penny Labor spent fighting the financial crisis.
The government's got to explain why a debt burden of $200 billion is a crisis and a disaster, but $1 trillion is no problem.
Before the pandemic, the government bragged that this year's budget would be
back in the black,
producing a mug to advertise it.
What mark will be on the Prime Minister's mug this year? I won't indulge the juvenile antics.
Labor's plan is to pin all the pain of the downturn on the Prime Minister.
The Morrison recession.
And Scott Morrison's plan is the budget.
From this COVID-19 recession, there will be a coalition-led economic recovery.
9 News has confirmed that there will be 2 more rounds of cash payments for pensioners, carers and those on family benefits, with $250 arriving for Christmas and another $250 paid out in March. There is also a moment of history for Australia's longest-serving Finance Minister. This is the last of his 7 budgets and the last awkward piece of pre-budget theatre.
I thought you'd seen it all as Finance Minister and then COVID hit.
Matthias Cormann will leave a large hole in the ministry when he leaves Parliament.
Very, very important plan for Australia.
The rehearsals are over. Soon it will be showtime. Chris Ullman, 9 News.
A tax relief package for millions of Australians will headline tonight's budget. Chris O'Keefe explains what it means for your hip pocket.
When you hear about tax cuts or tax reform, there's only one thing that really matters: how much cash you will save. Under the federal government's plan, if you earn $100,000, you'll pay $1,700 less tax this financial year. For someone on a $180,000 salary, it's a $2,500 saving and a similar annual discount for a household income of $100,000. If you're paid weekly or monthly, you will immediately notice more money in your account as you move across to the different tax rate. The whole idea is to get you spending in the lead up to Christmas. Now, all of this hinges on the package passing the Senate in the next few weeks, but there is a problem. Most of us have paid too much tax already because the package is backdated to July 1. 9 News understands that money will not be given back immediately in a lump sum, so we can spend it. Instead, we will have to wait to get it back refunded in next year's tax return.
The Reserve Bank has left interest rates on hold at the record low of 0.25%, ignoring calls for an emergency budget day cut. But economists say it wouldn't make much difference anyway.
Hinting at a desperate final rate cut, but today wasn't the day for the Reserve Bank.
Look, I think they're close one way or the other. They've been sending messages that they will help if they possibly can.
Governor Philip Lowe saying the board continues to consider how additional monetary easing could support jobs as the economy opens up further. With that, a new record low of 0.1% is expected next month, but economists say the RBA is already out of ammo.
Would it make any difference? Short answer is no.
But mortgage rates have been dropping anyway. The lowest variable rate in April for new customers was 2.39%. Now it's 1.89%, 0.5% difference. If the predicted final RBA cut is passed on in full, the average borrower with a $500,000 loan could save almost $500 a year.
There are 12 lenders offering mortgage rates under 2%. There is a huge amount of competition in this market.
On the other side of the coin, savers would be punished again.
Right now, the average savings rate is just 0.56%. That's despairing for anyone trying to earn some money on their hard-earned cash.
The Reserve Bank is expected to shave the last few morsels off the cash rate, but when it comes to getting out of a recession, the heavy lifting will have to be done in tonight's federal budget.
It's not that the price of money is too expensive. It's just there's no demand. So the only way you can step in that circumstance is by the government spending.
Chris Kohler, 9 News.
A new vocational training centre in Yarrawonga will open early next year, offering 80 spaces for youth in Palmerston and the rural area. It's hoped the career pathways offered there will help guide disengaged teens back on the right track.
There's a hive of activity in Yarrawonga constructing the Education Department's newest asset, a state-of-the-art vocational training centre due to open Term 1 next year.
It's going to be particularly important for those young people who are already disengaged from a traditional education pathway.
The facility was first flagged almost 2 years ago by the Chief Minister in response to a public outcry that youth crime was out of control. And now finally it's becoming a reality, set to offer 80 positions for kids from Palmerston and the rural area in a bid to get troubled teens back on track.
It does provide a completely different contemporary interactive learning environment. It provides that additional mentorship outside of a school and classroom environment. And that's what some young people are looking for.
The young people get a very good look at what industry looks like in a workplace, and I think that's really important because some of the behaviours that you may see in traditional schooling you might not see in our centre.
3 pathways will be on offer to students, including 2-year vet certificate programs, accredited short courses and an opportunity to try before signing up. And the courses cover a range of industries.
As well as each course providing credit for the students towards their Northern Territory Certificate of Education and Training, it's also hoped the courses will open doors for future job opportunities.
There's a skills shortage database and these skills have been identified as skills that will be needed into the future.
Government has signed a $450,000 a year lease for 10 years, with operations to cost around $300,000 annually. Kathleen Gazzola, 9 News.
Lawyers have flagged a 3-week hearing date will need to be set over the death of Private Jason Challis, as parties haven't come to a resolution. Mr Challis was killed in 2017 during a live fire training exercise at Mount Bundy. The legal team for the Department of Defence, which is facing a maximum penalty of $1.5 million, said there are 35 potential witnesses required for the hearing. The matter will be heard again in November to fix a hearing date. The opposition's calling on the government to explain what's happened to the promised review into the strict takeaway alcohol restrictions implemented in the Barkly region. The measures were introduced following a horrific attack on a toddler in 2018 and were to be reviewed within 6 months.
Are they going to keep it or are they going to change it? We all know there's been an increase in crime. For example, there's been a 48% increase in alcohol-related assaults in Tennant Creek since 2018. And is it related to the alcohol or is it not?
The government says the review was delayed as an Alice Springs inquiry was undertaken, which took longer than anticipated. The Liquor Commission is set to contact stakeholders this week, seeking submissions on a review by the end of this month. The US President has been released from hospital after only 3 nights, returning to the White House in an extraordinary show of bravado. Despite still receiving treatment for COVID-19, his doctors declared he's back, before adding that the President might not be out of the woods just yet.
The President of the United States, infected and fist-pumping, still on antiviral drugs and steroids to fight coronavirus, doctors gave Donald Trump the green light to leave Maryland's Walter Reed Medical Center. And landing on the South Lawn, the world's most watched COVID patient was home.
I learned so much about coronavirus, and one thing that's for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it.
He climbed the stairs to the White House and, preparing for a photo opportunity, took his mask off, soaking up the moment with 2 thumbs up and flashing cameras. It seemed staged for a video he tweeted shortly after.
I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune, I don't know.
The President's physician was today pressed on why he was discharged so soon.
He has never once pushed us to do anything that was beyond safe.
Has he been itchy to get out of here?
The President has been a phenomenal patient.
And his departure from hospital was unlike any other. Marine One standing by for the short flight with his fans outside elated.
All of us Americans and people around the world have a connection to POTUS, to Donald Trump. We all feel it.
He's a trooper, he's a fighter, and I guess he's in great health. He's a strong man.
After 3 days away from the White House, the President is heading home, a step closer to getting back on the campaign trail and making up for lost time. But his doctor warns Donald Trump is not out of the woods just yet.
And those close to the President are paying the price. His press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, the latest to test positive after staunchly defending his messages on wearing a mask. 14 of Donald Trump's inner circle are now infected, including McEnany, Kellyanne Conway, Hope Hicks, 3 Republican senators, aide Nick Luna and former Governor Chris Christie.
How many of your staff are sick? Thank you very much.
The US Marines are preparing to fly home, with this year's rotation in Darwin coming to an end. They've spent months strengthening ties with the Australian Army, recently completing a joint live-fire exercise at Mount Bundy.
It's a high-end exercise on the ground, assisted by aircraft. Over 1,000 US Marines and Australian Army personnel rapidly respond to a staged crisis at Mount Bundy in Exercise Coolundong.
In one of the harsher environments that we have on this continent.
It was one of the best experiences I've had during my entire service.
The large-scale complex exercise spanned over a month, health and safety playing a huge role this year.
This was my 3rd Coolundong. Each Coolundong is a little bit different every year. This year, due to the fact that there was extra health restrictions due to coronavirus, limited the scope of what we're able to conduct.
The very fact we were able to get out here in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic and continue to train while remaining clean from the virus just demonstrates the commitment of the US to its partnered forces.
The Marines are now packing up, preparing to fly back to the States after a successful and safe rotation.
We do it because we have a long history of working with the Australian Defence Force ever since World War I. And so in the event that any event comes up, whether it be a humanitarian assistance disaster response mission or a more significant contingency, we're able to work with the ADF to be able to provide security to all of our regional partners.
There's plenty we can learn from them, and I think they would have picked up a thing or two from us as well.
Pending the status of the pandemic, they're due back on Australian soil early next year.
Plenty of new friends that have come from this rotation. Look forward to seeing what the next rotation brings.
Zarisha Bradley, 9 News.
Qantas has won a closely watched court case over its decision to stand down hundreds of aircraft engineers without pay. Around 450 Qantas and Jetstar maintenance engineers were among staff stood down as passenger numbers plummeted during the height of the COVID-19 lockdowns. The federal court today agreed that the airlines couldn't reasonably be held responsible for the stoppage in work. Well, it's only been running 5 days, but the 6th season of the $1 Million Fish competition has already delivered, forking out $45,000. 4 anglers taking home cash prizes after reeling in the elusive red tags.
The comp has barely started, but these keen fishers are already rolling in it. Yay! For Queenslander Ryan Curtis, it's the perfect end to an extended holiday.
We were going to leave 2 weeks ago and we decided to have a crack at this $1 Million Fish.
The Mackay resident, visiting his parents who own Breedy's Lures, decided to hit up the Merry River over the weekend, hooking up to a 98-centimetre beauty.
How big is this?
With his mate Warren Franklin manning the net, the fight was on to make sure he landed it. And then the realisation it wasn't just any fish.
It's tagged! It's tagged! What's double tagged?
The first ever double tag barra caught, 10,000 grand for him, 5 for a friend.
I didn't actually realise it was tagged at the time until my mate said, it's tagged. And yeah, we were just yelling and screaming and it was amazing.
Territorian Jamie Panaris also didn't realise his barra was tagged when he pulled it in while fishing at Yellow Water.
I was hitting a lot of fish, but I was dropping every second one, and they're like slippery little fish. I gave it a little touch up, cast that out, and the next one was him. It was covered in moss, and it was dark, so I was using the moonlight mostly. My headlamp was playing up as well.
As for Wilfredo Riddick, he had an inkling where his fish would be after watching the Tourism Minister release it just last week.
Seen the video on TV and I thought, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know where this fish is going, so I thought I'd go down there. Girlfriend went to work, so I thought, yeah, here's my chance. And half an hour later, I got it.
And a fourth fisho joined their ranks today. Humpty Doo resident Rowan Francis also giving Yellow Waters a crack early this morning, reeling in $10,000. 4 fish in 6 days, suggesting this season could be the most lucrative yet. Kathleen Gazzola, 9 News.
Some pretty happy fishos indeed. Let's go to the happy Zarisha Bradley now with a quick look at the weather. And Zarisha, Darwin received a drenching this morning.
It did, Paul. Last night and this morning, it bucketed down in Darwin. The rain eased into midday and we've had partly cloudy skies all afternoon. This morning's rainfall has already surpassed last year's totals for the entire month of October. In 2019, the Darwin CBD didn't receive any rain in October until the 28th. The month received 20 millimetres in total. This year is looking good, Paul. We might even see a bit of rain on the way tonight. I'll be back later in the Bulletin with your full forecast.
Prepare the umbrella. Thank you, Zarisha. Still ahead in 9 News, why our frontline medical workers are finding themselves in the firing line. The stunning new vessel that's making quite a splash in the top end. The mysterious case of a missing high-profile federal court judge. And the terrifying moment, a mother goes off-road with her young children inside the car.
Doreen's dwindling dollars.
I mean, the money does disappear.
How she lives on an age pension of $67 a day.
A hell on earth. It's just impossible to manage.
She says Aussie pensioners have been forgotten by Canberra's bean counters.
Mr. Treasurer, how we're meant to cope.
A current affair next.
What is this? Wow, the curve shape ties in with everything else we're doing in this room.
Who will win? The Battle of the Curves.
2020, the year of curve.
Tonight, the curvy, wavy wall is revealed.
I like my curves on a wall and on a lady.
And trouble.
I just tried to access Harry's house and he blocked it off.
Is brewing.
Him and I are starting to clash heads a little bit at the moment. You are going to get a bill of at least $2 grand.
The Block, tonight, 7:30.
Love exploring the territory? If you do, it's good to know that with TIO Comprehensive Car Insurance, if you have an accident covered by your policy, we're here to help with the reasonable costs of towing, as well as your additional emergency accommodation and travelling costs. So get out there and explore. Get a quote today. TIO, we're for Territorians.
Got an old commercial pressure washer needing an upgrade? Whether it's 10 years old or not working at all, now's the time to trade in your old commercial pressure washer and save. Get up to $1,500 trade-in discount across a range of Karcher's hot and cold commercial pressure washers. And if eligible, take advantage of the government's instant asset write-off. Whether it's cleaning the truck or heavy-duty farm machinery, Karcher has the right equipment to do the job. Visit NT Fasteners Coolalingga today.
Make HD Pumps your first choice for sales and service. Domestic, commercial and industrial. We supply, install and repair market-leading brands and can advise on the most efficient solution to suit your needs. HD Pumps, making water work.
Missy Odepa Farm.
cabin fishing is BCFing fun.
Hands up for BCFing fun, because it's warming up out there. Club members save 50% on these cooler armchairs. Lock me in.
BCFing fun. Hey!
9 News Darwin, proudly brought to you by TIO, insurance for Territorians.
Another St John ambulance crew has been attacked overnight in Maldon after being requested to provide medical assistance. It is the second time in 2 weeks paramedics have been targeted. An ambulance had to be taken off the road in Katherine after rocks smashed the vehicle's window.
We've seen a rise in these kind of incidents. We've seen 30 assaults, violent assaults towards paramedics this year to date.
Thankfully, the paramedics were uninjured last night. Now, here's a story that will shock you. A new vessel that stuns fish is making waves across top-end waters. It was used to tag the $1 million barramundi, but it's also being used to ensure sustainable fishing for years to come.
There's plenty of secrets to snagging a catch in the top end, but this has to be one of the most unusual ways to land a barra.
It's the latest, greatest boat we can get in the world. Basically, it stuns them.
The new $150,000 vessel belongs to Fisheries, and it's been sending shockwaves through freshwater rivers in the NT for the last 4 months.
It is very humane way. A lot better, as I said before, when we were using gill nets. There was a reasonable amount of mortality in that. We get very little to no mortality in this.
The way the vessel works is that these feelers create an electrical force field within the water, which stuns all fish inside the area.
Generally, as soon as you get them in the net and get them out of the water and put them in the tank, they're alive and frisky and they want to go again, sort of stuff.
The electrical current reaches a range of about 2 to 5 metres around the boat, and the catch and release process is all in the name of helping turbocharge tourism.
This vessel has been instrumental in tagging a lot of barramundi for the $1 million fish competition.
The name of the boat is De Gill. The name comes from the Mullock people down at the Daly River. It means lightning.
The process also ensures freshwater fishing in the NT remains sustainable for years to come through identifying and measuring species. And while it's only been out for a couple of months, it's already making life out on the water much smoother.
Instead of sending out a team of 9 and 10 people to do a job for a week, we can send 3 people out for a day, and we get the same results.
Ellie Conway, 9 News.
Dozens of friends and family have joined the search for high-profile Brisbane judge Guy Andrew, who hasn't been seen since the weekend. Volunteers and police spent the day scaling the forest on foot and quad bikes, as well as searching nearby waterways. It's understood he left his home early Sunday morning. Mr Andrew's car has been located, along with some of his belongings, which were also left behind. The convicted sex offender is representing himself from prison in the final days of this inquest. Security cameras have captured the harrowing moment an allegedly drunk mum smashed into a house with her 3 young daughters inside the car. The crash in Long Island, New York, caused extensive damage to the house, but fortunately no one was home. The children, aged 4, 5 and 8, were all okay. Their 34-year-old mum now facing a number of charges. Donald Trump says he's feeling great, so what's the drug being used to treat him? The risks and side effects it brings. We meet the young Indigenous artist behind Palmerston Magpies, New Look Jersey. William, the wildlife warrior, the Duke of Cambridge, reveals his new passion project. Secrets locked inside our genes, the new personalised cancer treatment saving children.
Too rude? Why the sexy number plate on this criminal lawyer's flash car landed him in an ugly court battle.
My answer is tough.
A current affair next.
You have no idea who I am. I see you very clearly. You're going to solve the puzzle?
The time has come.
It's a toxic cloud.
To stop a serial killer.
It will kill everyone who comes into contact with it.
Destroying an entire city.
I don't want you to die, Jared.
It's for the greater good.
The heart-pumping season finale.
You are all I have.
An unmissable night of Australian drama.
Can we get much higher?
I fantasize about this back in Chicago.
Barbecues Galore Darwin at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Entertaining this season, Barbecues Galore Darwin have the big brands in modern outdoor living. And now, compare the largest Ziegler and Brown range in Darwin. Explore your own new flavours with Barbecues Galore's range of offset smokers and low and slow barbecues. Stock up on wood pellets, wood chips or marinades and proudly share your new flavour profiles. See the huge range at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Barbecue better with Barbecues Galore Darwin.
The MacArthur River Mine, producing minerals for products we use every day, creating job opportunities, developing lifelong skills, remote regions, supporting community projects, investing in locals, nurturing future generations. How are they all connected? Through one natural resources company, Glencore. Discover how we're connecting possibilities every day.
Considering selling your property? Speak to O'Donoghue's First National. Our sales team specialise in selling homes across Darwin, Palmerston and rural areas. Experience the endless real estate opportunities that await you today. We put you first. O'Donoghue's First National.
I got a good feeling. Feel it in my bones, gotta shake it out. I'm going harder than before, let me hear you shout. I run around the whole world, chasing that thrill. From the bottom to the top, I finna knock it out. Oh no, I'm the talk of the town. I know you're feeling it now. Come on and move to the sound. And keep it going, and turn it up loud.
Transitions, right under control.
Visit your optical superstore optometrist to ask about Transitions brand lenses.
Tomorrow, we're broadcasting from Parliament House in Canberra with complete analysis of Budget 2020, what it means for you.
Plus, Ethan Hawke was a huge star in the 90s, why his latest project comes as a bit of a surprise. We'll see you from 5:30.
The Palmerston Magpies have unveiled brand new jumpers that'll be worn throughout the NTFL season. They were designed by a Year 11 student who's been a member of the club for years.
With school, homework, rugby and footy training, Aisha Ronberg has her hands full, but she still makes time each day to paint.
It's a way to keep calm, get away from everything. It's peaceful.
The 16-year-old creates artworks inspired by country and sells her pieces through a Facebook page, but she's just finished her biggest project to date.
Got the opportunity when I was asked by Palmerston Magpies president and the committee to design clash jumpers for them. I was pretty stoked and excited to do something for the club.
To have someone that plays within the football club and do a design like this means a lot to the club and all the players and supporters that will put that jumper on.
Aisha completed the design in just a few short weeks, but there's a long story behind it.
The centre of the design represents the club and where players, families and supporters come together. The footprints that are coming towards the centre represents the players that are joining our club. There's footprints that are coming out of the centre that represents the life members and supporters and families that have passed away.
The jumpers were debuted over the weekend and will be worn by the men's and women's Premier League Maggies teams at away games for years to come.
To have something that I designed and to be worn and played in really means a lot.
It's hoped Aisha's art will prompt others in the league to follow suit.
It's more of giving someone an opportunity, as I said, to show their artwork. It'd be really good to see a few football clubs take it on board.
Ellie Conway, 9 News.
10% of the world's population may have already been infected with COVID. According to the World Health Organization, that figure is significantly higher than the current global number of confirmed cases, which sits at 35 million. With global deaths now exceeding 1 million, a leading WHO official warns we're now heading into a difficult period. The British government has launched an investigation into how nearly 16,000 positive COVID tests went unreported as a result of a technical glitch. There have been more than 12,500 new cases in the UK in the last 24 hours and 19 deaths. Meanwhile, bars in Paris are empty again after the city closed them for 2 weeks. France is now seeing a record 17,000 new cases a day. Azerbaijan forces have released footage of a village they claim to have taken during ongoing fighting with Armenia. Both sides are being accused of air attacks on civilians as the death toll mounts from the biggest flare-up the region has seen in 25 years. The fighting's over a contested region in Azerbaijan that has been under Armenian control. Much has been made about the cocktail of medications being given to the US president to treat COVID-19. Given Donald Trump's behaviour in the past 24 hours, many are focusing on one, a powerful steroid.
Among the many drugs Donald Trump's doctors have turned to fight his COVID infection, one is dexamethasone. It's a cheap, powerful corticosteroid that's been used for decades and has more recently been shown to be effective for some coronavirus patients by reducing an overreaction in the immune system that can lead to lung, heart and liver damage and even death. But it also has a range of side effects, especially in the early days of taking it. While it can cause anxiety, it can also cause euphoria, along with mood swings and personality changes. At the extreme end, mania and psychosis. And for those with existing emotional instability and psychotic tendencies, it can aggravate them. The one drug doctors haven't given Trump is hydroxychloroquine, which he's so publicly advocated.
Prince William has opened up about his fight against the illegal wildlife trade in a revealing new documentary with cameras following his conservation efforts for 2 years. The Duke of Cambridge says fatherhood has motivated him to speak out.
To give the young people hope and belief that things can get fixed. Because if we can't fix something like the illegal wildlife trade, how on earth are we going to fix climate change and some of these more complex global issues?
The documentary, called Prince William, A Planet for Us All, was released in the UK today. An award-winning butcher shot dead in Victoria. His brother accused of pulling the trigger. Those details are next. Separated as children see the incredible reunion 40 years in the making. The big game on the big screen plans to show the AFL Grand Final at the drive-in. The legal battle over Stairway to Heaven comes to an end. Did Led Zeppelin steal the famous riff?
Border battle disgrace. Gary survived brain surgery. Now his wife's fighting to take him home.
Show compassion.
A current affair next.
This mother-daughter duo are turning big risks into big rewards. The brand new season, Good Bones, tonight 7:30 on 9 Live.
Ridge's Palmerston Weekend Buffet Breakfast includes bakery, fresh fruit and deli selection, traditional hot items and eggs cooked to order. Bring the family and enjoy the fantastic pool and facilities. Our poolside bar is open from 10 a.m. Daily drink specials, bar menu till 9 p.m. with free use of pool and sun lounges. A great way to enjoy the weekends with your family. Weekends at Ridge's. Why not?
For the wet and dry season, Yeti is built for the NC. Camping World and Complete Angler are your authorised Yeti dealer. Our huge Yeti display holds the cold and keeps the heat. Find the right Yeti cooler or drinkware for your next outdoor adventure. From Ramblers to Tundras to the irresistible Yeti Colster can coolers. Beat the territory heat and step up to the real thing. Your Yeti authorised dealer is Camping World and Complete Angler Darwin.
Don't just get a forklift, get Toyota's legendary reliability. Get world-leading safety. Get more uptime.
And get more value for your business.
Don't just get a forklift, give your business the Toyota advantage.
Raspberry? Blueberry? Or why not both? At Macca's, there are 36 frozen Fanta flavours to discover for just $1. You can mix your favourites or enjoy a frozen Coke. A little goes a long way at Macca's.
It's showtime in the Top End. Top End Shows is bringing back the wow factor to Darwin with a spectacular showing of events throughout the year. Don't wait, check out what's on at topendshows.com.au and book your tickets today.
Keep all your property clean and weed-free with help from HD Pumps. We supply and service market-leading quick spray and cropland spray equipment and bar pressure cleaners, offering superior reliability to get the job done right. HD Pumps, making water work.
The Good Guys Big Deal Days are on now. Get this Salt Top Load washer only $3.95. This LG mobile phone $329. This Breville coffee machine $8.99. And this Amiga dishwasher $5.98. Big Deal Days only at The Good Guys.
Territorians are feeling isolated and uncertain.
I just lost my job.
I can't get home to see my family. I had to close my business.
Everyone is affected in different ways. Team Health are committed to supporting all Territorians during this difficult time through their dedicated phone support line, Team Talk. The experienced people at Team Talk are here to listen and offer advice and support. We can help. Call Team Talk 1-800-TEAM-00.
Remember me? Your favourite old dogs are back.
Normally we try to be a little more innovative.
Right from the very beginning. New tricks, tonight on 9Jam.
A Victorian man has been charged with murdering his brother, allegedly shooting him inside the home they shared with their parents. Tactical police were forced to drag him out of a friend's property after a 10-hour manhunt.
Stunned and disoriented, a mother is ushered from her Whittington home after witnessing a nightmare unfold inside. One son dead, another on the run after allegedly shooting him with the family's gun.
Unbelievable, yeah, just shocked. Yeah, really shocked.
David Arslanian succumbed to a single gunshot wound to his chest around 7:30 last night. The 31-year-old award-winning Belmont butcher remembered as a hard-working, lovable larrikin. Those who knew him say nothing was more important than family. But as he bled out, police say his brother, Haig Arslanian, ran. Hiding at a friend's home in nearby Leopold, he allegedly told her, "I've just torn my family apart," before heavily armed police dragged him out around 6 a.m. and charged him with murder. The 39-year-old had no family support in the courtroom. He was visibly distressed, continually scratching at his chest and barely looked up from the dock. His lawyer revealed Arslanian has no criminal history and is living with schizophrenia. The court also heard he hadn't taken his antidepressants for at least a day. After being released from custody without charge, Arslanian's friend told 9 News he was a kind-hearted man who'd been begging for support to fight his inner demons. He'll remain in custody until his next court appearance in March. Lana Murphy, 9 News.
There has been an incredible reunion between two brothers who had been separated for 40 years after being jailed along with their parents in Baghdad in 1980. As a 4-year-old, Haider had been smuggling out of prison by his grandmother and believed his 2-year-old brother Ahmed had been executed along with his parents. The reunion unfolded after Haider posted a baby photo of his brother to Facebook. The post went viral. Ahmed was recognised by his adopted family. 1,000 Australian children are diagnosed with cancer each year, and while most recover, for others there's no conventional treatment available. But now researchers say a genetic mapping program is offering new hope.
On the outside, Thomas Edney is a happy 8-year-old boy, but it's on the inside that the real miracle has occurred. Exhausting all options after being diagnosed with a rare brain cancer, he took part in the Zero program and his tumour reduced.
I remember I was at the hospital and I was hugging nurses and high-fiving doctors and carrying on.
The Australian Zero program conducted gene analysis of a child's tumour. 250 were deemed high risk. With limited options available, they were given targeted drugs.
I didn't think this was going to work, I had to be honest, but in fact the results are amazing.
More than 90% had their gene mutation identified. In 40%, the cancer stopped growing, and in 30%, the tumour reduced in size, and in some cases disappeared.
In 70% of cases, we can come up with a new treatment plan for these children, and that's world-breaking.
There are now plans to expand this program even further to all children with cancer, as well as increase access to new drugs and different combinations to reduce the risk of the cancer coming back.
You look at all the genetic changes in one go, and that just uncovers things that you're just completely unexpected.
Up until this program, Stella hardly walked, let alone kicked a ball. An aggressive brain tumour disappeared, sadly to come back. She passed away.
At least the last 10 months of her life, we were able to spend the quality time with her.
Vicky Jardim, 9 News.
Residents in Sydney could not believe their eyes this morning when they spotted 2 deer roaming the streets. Now, as we go to air tonight, one of the deer is still on the run.
Deer, oh dear. Yes, that's 2 deer captured on security camera on the loose in Leichhardt at 6:30 this morning.
I thought, that looks like a deer. Is that a... No, it can't be a deer.
Residents in Annandale did a double take when they spotted the pair prancing.
Deers in Annandale. Is this like a normal thing?
The inner west soon turned wild west as the deer bounded around, evading police for hours.
You have like a wild animal running free. I never would have thought, I couldn't believe that anything like that could happen.
Eventually, one became trapped in a Leichhardt backyard. Residents say they have no idea how the deer got stuck in this tiny yard. They say it would have had to have jumped a high fence or snuck through a small gap in one. The RSPCA was called in to sedate and capture the doe.
We think that perhaps he's run from a more rural area down the train lines.
Sadly, the deer was badly injured and had to be put down. Tonight, its mate is still running free through Sydney streets. If you see it, you should call police. Natalia Cooper, 9 News.
A terrifying morning for 2 window washers forced to cling to broken scaffolding high above New York City. The men clung onto dangling equipment 26 stories above Lower Manhattan for about 40 minutes as rescue crews worked to free them. Both were brought safely into the skyscraper unharmed. The cause of the collapse is under investigation. A Melbourne drive-in cinema owner is dreaming big, hoping to show the AFL Grand Final on screen on October 24. But Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews is already hitting the brakes on the plan.
No siren will sound at the MCG come Grand Final day, but horns could echo from the peninsula. After hundreds of socially distanced cars packed the Dramana drive-in to watch St Kilda smash the Bulldogs in round 2.
Every goal, the tooting, the lights flashing, of course this place was crazy.
Melbourne's second wave ended any hope of a second showing. 4 months later, and owner Paul Whittaker is banking on the AFL to bring people back to the big screen.
It's a fantastic opportunity to get the word out there that it's safe to go to the drive-ins.
League boss Gillan McLaughlin backed the plan last week.
It's a great idea, obviously within the rules. If we can help facilitate it, we will.
But outdoor cinemas can't reopen until Melbourne takes its 3rd step out of lockdown. And Daniel Andrews won't guarantee we'll get there in time.
Well, look, I don't want to put a downer on all these things, but I just say, you know, look at the numbers today. This is by no means over. I can't tell people where we're going to be on the 17th, 18th, 19th of October, let alone the 23rd.
If the big game gets on that big screen, the Dramana drive-in says it will be able to pack 450 cars in on Grand Final day, provided everyone stays socially distant inside their own car.
We're one of the safest places on the Mornington Peninsula, if anything.
I think we're one of the safest places anywhere.
Yeah. With just 1 active case on the peninsula, the Whittakers want the 5-kilometre limit gone.
There's a lot of fans out there. We don't know the teams yet. Of course, Saints are in there.
But maybe Paul should be barracking for dark clouds instead. The sun is due to set 15 minutes after the first bounce.
Maybe the AFL could delay the start for us.
Mark Santomartino, 9 News.
British rock band Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven copyright battle is finally over, with the US Supreme Court refusing to hear the dispute. The band was sued in 2014 over claims they'd stolen the song's opening riff from an American band called Spirit. Led Zeppelin won the case, but it was appealed. Today's decision means there are no further legal challenges available. It turns out gender reveals aren't only for humans, with pandas at Washington's National Zoo joining in the trend. Keepers shared the news of the male giant panda cub with a blue painting made by the 6-week-old's father. The newest little resident's name has not yet been announced. Coming up next in sport, how our AFLW hopefuls are faring at tonight's draft. We're live to Marara next. Plus, the taunt that hit a little too close to home for an imported Collingwood star. Will injury and poor form see Queensland swing the Origin selection axe? And another tennis official finds themselves in Novak's firing line.
The curvy, wavy wall is revealed.
2020, the year of curve.
The Block, tonight 7:30.
Did someone say KFC?
I don't care. I love it.
Escape for a quick, casual round of golf in the city at Gardens Park Golf Course. Bring your mates, grab a golf cart and a bucket of ice-cold drinks. It's fun, it's casual, and everybody is welcome. Check out our weekly deals. Golf starting from $10 at Gardens Park Golf Course.
With Choices Flooring, you'll find the colour, style and texture you've been searching for right in your own home with our fun new visualiser, Room View. Visit choicesflooring.com.au and start creating.
Got an old commercial pressure washer needing an upgrade? Whether it's 10 years old or not working at all, now's the time to trade in your old commercial pressure washer and save. Get up to $1,500 trade-in discount across a range of Karcher's hot and cold commercial pressure washers. And if eligible, take advantage of the government's instant asset write-off. Whether it's cleaning the truck or heavy-duty farm machinery, Karcher has the right equipment to do the job. Visit NT Fasteners Coolalinga today.
Bored sitting in front of your TV? Head out on the water in a new CJ boat teamed up with Suzuki, the ultimate outboard motor. See the latest Garmin and Humminbird electronics with great advice from the team at Quality Marine, your Suzuki specialists.
Rick's Kicks Arts. Connect and evolve through dance.
Looking for a local dive shop? The Dive Shop Darwin is sure to have everything you need, including cylinder airfills, spearfishing equipment, and a workshop for repairs and maintenance. For all things dive related, contact Archie at the Dive Shop.
Your local still dealer is here to help you take on spring. With battery trimmers from only $179 and blowers from only $199. Find your local dealer at stilldealers.com.au.
Too rude? Why, the sexy number plate on this criminal lawyer's flash car landed him in an ugly court battle.
My answer is tough.
A current affair next.
This sports report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop online, mobile or in-store today.
Well, the Territory's a breeding ground for footy talent, and the next batch of emerging stars could realise their dreams at tonight's AFLW draw. Let's go live now to Ali Conway at Marara, where a group of, I'm pretty sure, nervous NT hopefuls have gathered. And Ali, what's the feeling like in the room?
Paul, the draft night is really the night these girls have been counting down now for months, and rightly so. There's a lot of excitement and anticipation in the room, and I can reveal we've had some incredible news here tonight. Our very own Stephanie Williams from the Darwin Buffets has been drafted to Geelong. Now, she's currently down in Geelong studying there, but we have had her family up here in the room, and she has Skyped them just to give them the news and also tell them, you know, how happy she is. So we've had the whole family up here celebrating tonight. Members of her club have also been there. But of course, the draft is still ticking along. There's plenty of picks coming in. We've got Janet Baird here, who's been training with the Gold Coast Suns for the last year. She's had 2 tries at the draft in the last 2 years. They've been unsuccessful, so she's hoping it'll be third time lucky for her. We also have Frida Purintatameri also trying her luck here tonight. And as I said, still plenty of picks to roll in tonight. So we're waiting here with bated breath, Paul.
Our very own back pocket cum winger, Ali Conway. Thank you for that, Ali. Well, Collingwood's Mason Cox has revealed how his eyes have played a key part in his form reversal. And in the wake of another finals masterclass, the forward delivered a few choice words to his critics.
He's the big American who doesn't mind a bit of trash talk. In fact, he relishes it, even if some of the taunts that come his way can hit a little below the belt.
Talk a bit of smack back and forth, and I think one of them told me to go get coronavirus like your president, and that didn't sit too well.
With 3 goals in a 5-minute burst against the Eagles, Mason Cox again proved he's a handy finals performer. but he has had his critics.
I'm pretty proud of my journey, and if you don't enjoy it or hate what I do, whatever it is, that's fine. It's not a reflection on me. It's probably a reflection on yourself.
Cox revealing the eye injury that ended his campaign last season also played its part in his subsequent axing this year.
It was a bit frustrating to not be able to see straight whenever you're trying to mark a footy coming at you, but eventually, I saw a few doctors along the way, and we were able to kind of get some contacts and sort out a few medication stuff to be able to help fix the problem.
Taylor Adams also stepped up in the big moments, his mates even comparing his game-saving smother and this famous one in the 2010 Grand Final replay.
I had a few friends that have really pumped it up as the smother of the millennium, much to Heath Shaw's demise.
Braden Ingram, 9 News.
To the NRL, and fiery forward Josh Maguire has been dumped from the Maroons squad for this year's Origin series. Incoming coach Wayne Bennett instead pushing for an injection of fresh faces in his Queensland side.
Who to select in the Maroons squad isn't Queensland's only dilemma, with voting underway for the deadly Origin team to honour our greatest Indigenous players, a 32-man shortlist that will soon be whittled down to 17.
It's really difficult. I tried to do it this morning, and I'm going to keep my team to myself because I don't want to get in trouble with a lot of good mates that I've played alongside of.
Kalen Ponga's shoulder injury is causing headaches for the current Maroons selectors. He's expected to be ruled out on Thursday to undergo surgery.
That is a big one, to be honest. We know what sort of player he's, such a talented player, and you go back to his debut with Origin, he absolutely killed it. It's a big hole to fill, fullback, and so important in Origin.
Former Maroons fullback Colin Scott believes AJ Brimson is the ideal replacement to fill Queensland's #1 jersey.
He gets himself involved, which is a big part of the game now, and he's a fullback, he's a great attacker, he's got the speed, he showed what he can do on the field, and, I'd pick him in the fullback spot for sure.
9 News understands Jake Friend will be another debutant, snaring the hooking role ahead of Ben Hunt, who'll be on the bench, and it's being David Fafita won't play any part in this year's series. Adam Jackson, 9 News.
Well, line judges really need to be on the lookout when Novak Djokovic is on court. Another one in the firing line today during the 4th round at the French Open. Unlike the brain fade which led to his US Open disqualification, this was just bad luck.
I'm actually trying to find the lines person and see if he's okay, because I saw he had a little bit of a bruise or like redness on that place in the head where the ball hit him. I hope he's fine.
The world #1 went on to defeat Karol Karchinov in straight sets. Aussie teenager Macy Callahan has caused 2 major upsets at the Gold Coast Pro. The 19-year-old beat 2-time world champ Tyler Wright and 7-time champ Steph Gilmore to make it to the semi-finals. In the men's competition, it was mixed results for Tyler's brothers. Owen Wright was eliminated, but Mikey is through to the quarterfinals. Marcus Stoinis has fired with the bat for the Delhi Capitals. The Aussie batsman belted a half-century off just 26 balls to help push his side to a total of 196. Aaron Finch's Royal Challengers fell short by 59 runs. The Aussie captain caught for 13. The win puts the Capitals on top of the IPL ladder. Kansas City are the first team in NFL history to start 4 straight seasons with 4 straight wins. The defending Super Bowl champions defeated New England in a game delayed because Patriots quarterback Cam Newton tested positive for COVID-19. His backup didn't fare so well as the Chiefs ran out 26-10 victors. Stay with us, will you? Zarisha will be here for your full weather report.
That's right. I'll have all the rainfall details right after the break.
This sports report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop online, mobile or in-store today.
Border battle disgrace. Gary survived brain surgery. Now his wife's fighting to take him home.
Show compassion.
A current affair next.
Need your shocks checked? Goodyear's City Tyre Service can have you tested and back on the road in no time.
For reliable and mechanical peace of mind, drive into Goodyear City Tyre Service. Service, it's in the name.
Steel Line can re-roof your place with quality Colorbond steel roofing that'll increase value and last for ages. For service over and above that, on everyone else, see the local re-roof experts at Steel Line.
If you are paying off a home, you could be using your tax to help prepare for retirement. Brand new, well-researched Australian investment property for little or no out-of-pocket weekly expense. Contact Kevin at Personalised Property Investments.
Peel your way to a $10,000 experience voucher from Red Balloon and more. Peel, play and win at Macca's today.
This weather alert brought to you by Fridgelec, your Dakin air conditioning specialists.
Well, if this month is anything to go by, this year's wet season is looking a whole lot better than last year. We received over 35 millimetres of rain across the city today, and if the forecast rain continues, we're on track tomorrow to double last year's rainfall totals for the month of October. Right now it's around 30 degrees, the humidity 45%. Taking a look at the satellite, a low pressure trough, cold front and associated cloud band extends from the top end through Central Australia to the New South Wales and Victoria coasts and over the Tasman Sea. Across the country it will be partly cloudy, rather right across Queensland as temperatures heat up. Brisbane will reach a top of 27, showers developing for Melbourne and Adelaide, possible rain for Sydney with a maximum of 22. Hobart reaching overnight temperatures of 5 degrees and Perth will see a top of 24. Back home, showers and likely storms right across the top end. Palmerston and Humpty Doo a top of 33, 19 in Alice Springs with possible rain, and Yulara a minimum of 6 degrees. On the harbour, seas below half a metre, variable winds at 10 knots, strengthening northwesterly around midday. High tide of 6.4 metres after 8 a.m, dropping to just under 2 metres after 3 p.m. Our catch of the day winner today is Casey. She caught these ripper goldies on a fishing charter in the Darwin harbour that she booked using the Territory vouchers. Congratulations, Casey. Don't forget to send your catch of the day entries to newsphotos@9.com.au. Tomorrow, a potential storm on the way for Palmerston. Similar conditions in Humpty Doo with showers forecast, and that wet stormy weather will continue in Darwin with a top of 32. So the next 7 days you'll need to keep your umbrellas on you throughout the week until sunny skies are expected into the weekend. And Paul, the Weather Bureau is predicting Darwin will be treated to up to 15 millimetres of rain tomorrow.
Cannot wait for that one. Thank you, Zarisha. See you again for more weather tomorrow as well. The share market finished higher today as investors eye recovery plans from the Reserve Bank and the federal government. Here's Chris Collar.
The All Ordinaries gained 0.5% ahead of the budget. Winners and losers on the market will emerge tomorrow morning. There were a couple of big winners today, though, with investors piling into gold miners Northern Star and Saracen after they announced a $16 billion merger. On the nose today was CSL, Telstra and Wesfarmers. They all dragged on the market. And the Australian dollar popped up on today's Reserve Bank decision, but that didn't last long, and the Australian dollar was steady this afternoon at 71.8 US cents.
Some unusual hard rubbish has given Melbourne residents quite the fright. A coffin was spotted on a nature strip outside a house beside a couch and a washing machine. The eerie sight left locals to wonder where the timber casket had come from.
It was a real coffin. Apparently there was an old housemate who used to work at a funeral home and just brought home the cheapest coffin they could for one Halloween.
With Halloween only weeks away, it didn't take long for someone to snatch up the coffin. A split-second decision has saved a man's life from a driver who'd fallen asleep at the wheel near Adelaide. His dash cam captures the moment. A white sedan veers onto the wrong side of the road. Acting quickly, the man swerves up against the guardrail, missing the full force of the oncoming car. Incredibly, no one was injured. And that is 9 News for this Tuesday. I'm Paul Taylor. From all of us here at the team, good night.